gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and tonight, live on the WWE Network, we will see one man put his Intercontinental Championship on the line against two other men who believe that they are the rightful champion in a ladder match that is sure to steal the show. And then, of course, we got two cousins looking to fight for the world crown of SmackDown Live to see who is truthfully the alpha of their family. And finally, two men will brawl to the bitter end to find out which one will be taking a trip to the hospital in an ambulance. But before it is time for the two cousins to clash, before it is time for that ambulance doors to be shut closed, before it is time for WWE Clash of Champions, it's time for the rundown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another video right here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. This is the official rundown for WWE Clash of Champions 2020. My guest over here is already laughing. It's, of course, streaming live tonight on the WWE Network with the pre-show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Every championship will be on the line, and as pretty much I've already spoiled it, I'm not alone. Back after 3 long months of being away, back by popular demand, actually, ladies and gentlemen, he's an advocate for PWP Nation, lifelong wrestling fan. Please help me welcome back here to the channel, Mr. Jey Alletto. Jey, how you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic, man. I was trying to hold back my laugh, but I couldn't quite do it. I had to let it out, bro. You were one funny cat.
I have that effect on people. Let me tell you something. I had my friend Colton from Arkansas. I did a live lightning flash update with him back when this pandemic first started, back in March. And you could legitimately see me. I was looking over at him, and I could see him cracking a smile and laughing, and I started laughing myself. So I from then on out, I realized, like, I can't look at my guests when I'm doing my intro because then I'm going to start laughing myself. But I really just go all out with that. You already know that. See, now I'm starting to bring back the intro. I actually took a break from it, but now I'm starting to bring it back a bit. But anyway, I know that you've been watching the highlights for Raw and SmackDown, and to be quite honest, I don't fucking blame you. The shows have been fucking terrible. I mean, just take a look at what they got on Raw. Fucking Slapjack. Yeah, he's really gonna bring in the demo.
Yeah, I mean, the one. See, I'm just gonna start off with something positive here on that, because the one silver lining that this group has is they can always go back to who they really are. Like, you can always go back to Mia Yim. You can always go back to Dominic, Dijak, and all that stuff. But, like, it's better them coming into WWE as these lame characters now, getting it out of the way. It's going to fail. It'll be buried. And then they can go back to who they're supposed to be and actually build their brands that way. Because I don't see anything that's really going to save this storyline. I don't know what it'll be.
I was going to say, like, here's what I was going to predict. I was actually going to save this for the Lightning Flash. A lot of you have already watched the Lightning Flash update because you're seeing this after the Lightning Flash update. I said on the Lightning Flash update that they should just kill this angle altogether. I already read the predicted plans for Survivor Series. I believe that you have too. Have you?
No, but I'm down. We can talk about it.
So the predicted plans for Survivor Series are actually to do a Retribution versus Team WWE angle. Now, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, you're better off just killing the group, get them arrested, take them off of television, and then have these individuals either go back to NXT or debut on the main roster as their own characters. Just debut them as Mia Yim, debut them as Dominic Dijakovic, debut them as Shane Thorne, and just leave it at that. Don't even bring it up. Act like it never existed, because nothing is saving this angle, especially with T-Bar.
Yeah, these names are hilarious, and I don't know, man. I just think better to get it out of the way now. Just do it. Do whatever Vince and Bruce have in their minds, whatever their vision is. Just do it. Get it out of the way. Let's get past this and move on to the good stuff. Because, believe it or not, I believe the future is bright for the WWE.
I like to believe that too. Let me tell you something. I really like to believe that, but with Brother Love running the WWE, you know, future ain't looking too bright. The future's taking a nosedive into the fucking dumpster.
Without question, man. Listen, I have nothing against Bruce Prichard on a personal level. I've had, minor conversations with him in the past, but holy crap, I don't know what he's doing as far as booking or creative is concerned during this new run with WWE. He's done some horrible stuff in the past, but just there's no cohesion in these shows. There's the only storyline that's really good, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, is Bayley and Sasha. That's the only really good storyline, and now this Roman Reigns thing is started, which I'm high on as well. But other than that, man, it's just this monotonous show that just kind of treads every week and isn't must-see TV.
They had something with Monday Night Raw and the Seth Rollins Buddy Murphy angle, but now it seems like they scrapped that to go with Aaliyah apparently turning on the Mysterios. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you continuing that storyline? Go forth with Rollins and Murphy, because Rollins, he's going to be gone in a couple of months to take care of his newborn child. So put Buddy Murphy over Seth Rollins, have him become a babyface, give him the United States Championship, take it off of Lashley, and build towards Ali and Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania for the United States Championship. Revisit that feud from 205 Live, which they had some great fucking matches.
Yeah, they're not going to do that because I think ultimately where they're headed is to actually have Dominic Mysterio beat Seth Rollins in an epic match. Because it's going to come down to Seth telling him how many times he's beat him, that he can never defeat Seth Rollins and stuff like that. And then they're obviously building towards a huge Dominic Mysterio win. That's why they won't let the storyline go. They're going to do that at some point, probably WrestleMania, I think.
They really should have just ended it at Payback. But regardless, we kind of got sidetracked there. We started talking about Retribution, the rundown for Clash Champions. I actually hope they don't even show face. I hope they don't even show face at Clash Champions. But regardless, we're here to talk about Clash Champions. I believe we got 9 matches, if I'm not mistaken, set for the show. So first things first, please follow me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMakerDJS. You'll find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TheDJStorms. Please add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook. That is. All the links are in the description. Lightning Flash update from yesterday is in the description. I talked about all the news regarding Retribution, or Failurebution, as my friend Adam calls it. So I'd like you to check that one out. Lots of good stuff. I reviewed all of the weekly shows. We got a lot to talk about going into Clash Champions tonight. And then, of course, I need you to hit the like button. Me and Jay, we got some goals to reach. Please get this video to at least 20 to 30 likes. And when you like, of course, you got to keep the chat rolling. Spark up the conversation. And when you spark up the conversation, you got to hit the subscribe button, because I got some goals I want to reach. I want to grow. I want to expand. And when you hit that subscribe button, you got to hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way, you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it's the best time to be on YouTube. I mean, like I say every time, it's the only time on YouTube you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Give me 1 second, people. Give me 1 second. There you go. There you go. I see you trying to look away. You're trying to hold it back. Anyway.
I'm trying to hold it back. I'm trying to hold it back.
He's trying. I wish I had better technology so they could see how the look on your face, you're looking this way, so that way you're not looking at me.
Here's what you need to do, bro. You need to download Zoom, and you need to connect with me that way so we can record it in video.
True. Anyway, what we're going to do right now, enough of the self-brand promotion and advertisement. We're going to get straight into the matches here. We're going to talk about the kickoff match first. Of course, it is Asuka versus Zelina Vega. Yes, you heard me correctly. I did not stutter. Zelina Vega for the Raw Women's Championship, and I'm trying to think to myself, why the fuck they went ahead with this? Here's what I am trying to figure out. So, instead of building up Mickie James, and actually putting some effort into her, which they haven't, because of course they have not put effort into anyone except for the people that they want to push and the people that they have no choice but to push. You elect to do Mickie James and Asuka away for free on an episode of Raw that you dubbed or duped in your face, and that match sucked. That match absolutely sucked. But instead of building up Mickie James, you elected to waste that match away on the pay-per-view and then insert Zelina Vega into the mix. When, Zelina Vega, realistically, Zelina Vega's like the fucking Spanish Alexa Bliss. She's good on the microphone, but man, she cannot fucking wrestle. Zelina Vega, very, very sloppy. She's much more suited for a managerial role. I don't know what they're going to do with Andrade and Angel Garza, whether they're going to give them the tag team titles or break them up. To be quite honest, I hope they give them the tag team titles because those titles need to come off the fucking Street Profits. But as far as this match goes, I'd like to have some hope that Asuka would bring Zelina Vega to a decent match, but based on everything that has gone on and the fact that they have completely just flopped with the women's division on both shows, it's really hard for me to get invested in this. I mean, I'd like to hope that they give us a decent match, and I would like to hope that Asuka is going to do everything in her power to make Zelina Vega look good in this match, but with the recent string of pre-show matches, I can't really get behind this because I know how WWE operates with these pre-show matches, and they only give the pre-show matches, like 6-7 fucking minutes? When was the last pre-show match that actually went a decent amount of time and was actually great? The last one I can remember was back in May between Jeff Hardy and Cesaro on the Money in the Bank kickoff. That match went 14 minutes. That was a great fucking match. But outside of that, it's like they've said, fuck it, let's just make all these pre-show matches 6-7 minutes. And to be quite honest, I actually hope this match goes 25 seconds because Zelina Vega, no one's going to believe that Zelina Vega should be getting all this offense on Asuka. I'm going with Asuka to retain. It only makes sense. And I am predicting that Shayna Baszler is going to be the one to take the title off of Asuka, and she should hold that title going into the new year. Mr. Alletto, I'm going to toss the ball over to you.
Yeah, so I think this is a glorified squash match, and not because Zelina Vega isn't good. Here's the thing about her. She just hasn't been active. 5-10 years ago, back in the Impact Wrestling days when she was wrestling full time, she was very good. I mean, she was quick, and she was precise, and I'm a big fan of hers. But right now, she's suffering from ring rust. I think that goes without question, because we saw her wrestle a few times here and there on Raw over the past number of weeks, months, but it hasn't been as consistent as any of the other female competitors. So she's got a bit of ring rust after being inactive for years. Does she deserve a spot like this in a title match? Sure, I think so. Why not? I mean, at this point, having like a ranking system or somebody earning their way towards the match doesn't really matter. It's like, that's an old school thing. AEW does that very well, but in the WWE, it's just something that doesn't matter anymore. So, look, Asuka's going to squash her. It's going to be probably a 5-minute match, but I do hope that Zelina Vega continues to wrestle and adds like some, really needed charisma to that women's division. I think that's where she's going to really excel in my mind.
If they wanted to bring some charisma to that division, they could have easily put Mia Yim on Monday Night Raw because Mia Yim, she's got plenty of charisma to go around. But, of course, you have to make her, what's her fucking name? The WrestleVotes tweeted out that apparently, it was WrestleVotes and then Sean Ross Sapp. That fucker blocked me on Twitter, so fuck you, Sean. But regardless of that, apparently, Mia Yim's new name is now Reckoning. Because she's in Retribution, but what the fuck do I know? I'm a Jersey kid with jet black hair and sideburns. I don't know jack shit.
Now, here's the thing, man. Like, WWE, just Vince and these guys, they don't know about Mia Yim. He's got no idea what she's done, what she can do. I've been watching Mia Yim for over a decade. I've seen her wrestle on the indies countless times. I've had conversations with her. She's awesome. I knew she'd be at this point in her career. But right now, she's got to get through. She's got to weather the storm. But I heard you mention Mickie James before, and that's funny you mentioned her, because you know why she's getting beat. She's never going to be built up. That's because Nick Aldis and Bruce Prichard have a feud with each other. And that's why Mickie James is getting punished. I mean, this is classic WWE stuff. This is what they've done for years. This is what they're doing to Lana right now, if you watch the show. So it's
I do. Every week. 3 hours. Dude, I took 5 pages of notes for Monday Night Raw. Intently.
That's insane.
I actually didn't know that. I actually did not know that Nick Aldis and Bruce Prichard are at war with each other. So, that's why I got you, because I actually did not know that. So, that's actually a useful piece of information that I can use as of right now.
Long story short, Nick Aldis was in TNA when Bruce was head of talent relations there. So, and Nick Aldis was playing the Magnus character who was kind of just coming up through the ranks. On Bruce's podcast, he kind of buried him. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what he said. I remember listening to it. He definitely buried Nick Aldis. Magnus pretty much said he wasn't a draw, whatever. And we know what Nick Aldis is doing with the NWA Championship, what he was doing anyway. Hopefully he's getting back into gear now. But so they went back and forth, and Nick Aldis did not stand down to Bruce. Nick Aldis went on, I think it was Busted Open Radio, and fired back at Bruce Prichard and said everything that all of us want to say. So that's why Mickie James is getting punished. It's obvious. It's like anyone who denies that is just oblivious.
I'm actually going to have to go out of my way to listen to that shit when I get the opportunity, but...
Yeah, check it out.
I'm definitely going to go listen to that, but I believe that we are Asuka across the board here.
Yeah, totally.
So where does Asuka go after this? Do you see Shayna Baszler beating Asuka somewhere before the end of the year?
Nope. I see Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax being tied together at the hips for the immediate future. I think they're going to be a tag team, frenemies. WWE loves the frenemies thing. They love that. How many tag teams do they do that with? They did it with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Now they're doing the same thing with these two. They have nothing to do with either of them. So they just put them together. Eventually it'll lead to a feud, whatever. I think Asuka is a dominant champion, and they build her up for like Bianca Belair. I really think that's going with the vignettes for Bianca Belair now. And, who knows? At the end of the day, Vince might pull somebody else from NXT before WrestleMania. So, I don't know. Maybe like a Rhea Ripley moves up. Maybe a Io Shirai moves up. There's some other way to go. And there's also going to be a rumored shake-up. So, the rosters are going to change soon anyway. So, it's way up in the air right now.
Here's the thing, though. And that actually ties into the next match that we're going to talk about, which is the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Here's the thing. Who is there outside of Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan? There's nobody else. And do you think that Vince McMahon is actually going to take Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax down to NXT to defend those titles? Because they actually got some tag teams in NXT. They got some women's tag teams in NXT. They got Casey Gonzalez, Kaden Carter. They got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. But do you really think that Vince is going to have them go down to NXT and defend those titles? No. So they're going to stay on the main roster. But outside of Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, who the fuck else is there? The Iconics disbanded, thank fucking Christ. There is a God. So at the end of the day, if Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott don't win, what's next for Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax? Unless you're going to do another match with these two teams, which I don't think is the case. If anything, I think Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott are going to win the titles. And if anything, they should win the titles. They should win the titles. Because, my God, they have gone way too fucking long without their due. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, they could easily have a singles Raw Women's Championship reign, but WWE is not investing in them, and the only reason why they're going to give them the Women's Tag Team Championships is because those titles have pretty much become a placeholder championship for individuals that Vince McMahon has deemed not worthy to hold a singles championship, but we're going to give them a tag team championship to brainwash the fucking idiots into thinking that they're actually being pushed when they're not. But then again, at this rate, it's the best possible decision for both of them, and I hope to God that they retire the titles with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Shayna Baszler needs to be broken away from Nia Jax. Nia Jax needs to go to the unemployment line, and Shayna Baszler, she needs to go with Asuka, win the Raw Women's Championship, and Shayna Baszler is going into WrestleMania with that title, and then she needs to fight Bianca. If that's not the case, then Asuka needs to hold that title all the way to WrestleMania, and then Bianca wins the Raw Women's Championship there. But as far as this women's tag team title match goes, I'm going with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott to become the new champions. This is one of the only titles that should change hands on the show. I mean, what say you?
I mean, I love Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. I'm a big fan of both of them. Liv Morgan's a Jersey girl, you know, so
of course, he was in Paramus.
And bingo, and I would love to see them win as a fan. You know, I just have a feeling, and the cool thing about my feeling about this with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler being tied together for the future, I just think they like the story. I know we don't. I'm not a big fan of it either, but I just have a feeling Vince loves it. So just to keep them busy, he keeps them together and they win. So I think they're going to win. But the great thing about it is you can pull the plug on it. You can just as easily blow it up at Night of Champions on Sunday and make Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott the tag team champions and feud those two together. Or you can do it in a week, or you can do it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or next month, whatever the case may be. You can do it at any point in time that you want to pull the plug on the tag team. I just don't think they're going to do it yet. It's only been a couple of weeks. And I feel like this is one of those stories where they want to build towards something.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this ain't no Kane Daniel Bryan shit, because Kane and Daniel Bryan, they actually had chemistry, and they were actually a great fucking tag team. But in this tag team, Shayna Baszler's been doing all the fucking work. Shayna Baszler's been doing all the fucking work in their tag team matches, and the sad part about it is that this is just a recreation of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, where one individual does all the fucking work, and then the other does about like maybe 5-10% of the work. And they're trying to mask Nia Jax's atrocious wrestling ability, because at the end of the day, Nia Jax should be nowhere near a wrestling ring. And Shayna Baszler, you know, I would hate to say it, but it almost seems like this is the only way that Shayna Baszler's ever going to be a champion on the main roster, which really does suck. I'm still going with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. If Shayna and Nia retain like you're predicting, where do they go then?
They just hold on to those titles, man. They don't really care. There was like months, I believe, where they didn't defend those championships at all. I don't remember who had them. Maybe the Iconics.
The Iconics.
Yeah, nothing happened for months. So I mean, you can just as easily do that again, or you can just have them fight Natalya and Lana. I'm sure they'll continue to troll Lana and have her tap out and get her ass kicked. You can throw any two women together. You can throw Mickie James together with somebody. Like, they can just do that. They've always done it. This is what WWE has always done. That's why I'm pretty confident they're going to keep going with this, because it's basic WWE, man. You got to remember, I've been watching this shit since I was a little kid, every single week for my entire life, and I've seen this happen with Andre the Giant, and they did the same thing. In like 1990, they threw him with Haku. Andre the Giant couldn't move anymore. They threw him with Haku. They became the tag team champion, right? They built it towards WrestleMania 6, where Demolition, who had recently turned babyface, won the tag team titles, huge pop, and then Andre the Giant turned heel on Bobby the Brain Heenan after the match, because Andre couldn't work anymore. Like, he could not wrestle at that point. And to me, it's like that similar kind of story. I don't think it's going to have a payoff, and we're talking about legendary Andre, and then we're talking about Nia Jax. But I just think it's classic WWE booking.
We'll see what happens. Well, speaking of the women, we're going to continue with that, actually. We're going to talk about Bayley and Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And I've said this before. Now that we got the ball rolling with Bayley and Sasha, now the bad part about it is now we're more likely than not going to have to sit through 4 to 5 months of rehashed matches that we've seen with Bayley, because at this rate, the best possible route to go, I've said it once, I'll say it again, Sasha needs to win the Royal Rumble. You keep Sasha off of television based on the attack, have her come back, win the Royal Rumble, Bayley's still the champion, and you have Sasha Banks win the title at WrestleMania. So based off of that, and especially on the promo last Friday, not the show a couple nights ago, like 9 days ago, Bayley attacked Sasha Banks after Sasha Banks said that she's going to take the SmackDown Live Women's Championship from her. That's a done deal. Nikki Cross ain't winning the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Nikki Cross and Bayley, they have good chemistry together, so I'd like to believe they'll give us a decent match like they did at the Horror Show at Extreme Rules. But at the end of the day, it really just is a rehashed feud, and Bayley winning, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. And I have a feeling that the next few months of these rehashed matches with Bayley, it's going to be fucking long. It's going to be fucking tiresome. It's really going to be a pain in the ass until we actually get to the Royal Rumble. And I don't even know what the fuck they're going to do for the Rumble, because the Thunderdome contract, that's expiring on October 30th. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for that. But regardless, I'm calling Bayley to win. No reason for Nikki Cross to win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And Sasha Banks and Bayley are on a collision course for WrestleMania 37. Mr. Alletto, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I agree on the winner here. I think Bayley for sure. But you got to remember Carmella's coming back. I'm pretty sure they've been running vignettes for Carmella's return.
Yeah, they
she
have.
has a history with Bayley. I think they'll probably have those two feud in the interim, because I too believe that Sasha Banks should win the Royal Rumble and challenge at WrestleMania. There's a lot of speculation. You probably have heard this. They want to do Sasha versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that. I've said it once, I'll say it again. That match, that may be the only match that realistically belongs inside Hell in a Cell. So I get what you're doing there. You kind of booked yourselves into a corner, but wasting it away after a month, it's really not good. Right now, this is the best fucking thing that you got on the main roster outside of Roman Reigns' heel run, which is actually shaping up to be very, 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 very nice, especially with the program with Jey Uso and that look that he gave Jey Uso as he was dancing up the ramp. That was actually a nice little subtle detail right there, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. But as far as Bayley and Sasha go, it's probably the best thing on the main roster right now, and you're really going to waste that after a month? But then again, this is WWE. I really wouldn't be surprised if they do it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, too, the storyline has really been building up for years now. If you really think about it, they've turned on each other and fought backstage, and they just haven't really had that blow-up match. And they had that big match at NXT TakeOver, so you have a lot of history there. So Hell in a Cell makes sense from a booking perspective. However, I wouldn't do that. I would put the two men's world titles in Hell in a Cell. I would have Roman versus Bray Wyatt and have Roman just absolutely kill him somehow. And then have Drew and Randy Orton. I mean, those two are the only, I think, matches outside of Sasha Bayley that deserve it. But anyway, Bayley wins. I'm excited for the future. I think Carmella's probably the next challenger.
More likely than not, yeah.
And ready to go.
They're going to have to. At this rate,
right?
There's really no one else.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss, maybe. I don't know.
She's tied up with Nikki Cross. Matter of fact, I'd be surprised if Alexa Bliss doesn't get involved in this match, yeah. Because she's got the Fiend storyline going on. Probably the best work that Alexa Bliss has been doing since 2017.
She's charismatic. I'll always say it. She's got tons of charisma, Alexa Bliss, tons of charisma. She's just not the best wrestler. And she's not bad. She's a professional. She knows what she's doing. She's improved a lot over the years, so I'll not be as negative on her as you and some others are. But I think that where her strength lies is her charisma.
I would agree, but dude, when she cuts a promo, it's legitimately the same thing over and over. She's like the female Seth Rollins, dude. It's not a bad promo, but it's the same fucking thing. It's repetitive. Like, I already know you're the goddess. Yeah, I already know it's a moment of bliss. Yeah, I already know Nikki Cross is your best friend. What else do you got? Are you programmed like Charlotte?
She's different now. She's different.
I mean, outside of the hair.
They gave her a new gimmick.
I mean, outside of the hair.
We'll see. See how they do.
Outside of that, I mean, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where it goes, and that's the first time I've actually been intrigued with Alexa Bliss ever since 2017. That was the last year that she could actually wrestle. So, we're moving on to SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match between Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Lucha House Party. And I've said this before. About these individuals. Think about how great these individuals are. Think about how great Cesaro is. Think about how great Grand Metalik is. Think about how great Lince Dorado is, Kalisto, Shinsuke Nakamura. Think about how great these guys are. If these guys are given 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they could put on a fucking match of the year candidate. I was watching the Lucha House Party over on 205 Live, back when 205 Live was at its peak, putting on match of the year candidates with Buddy Murphy and Akira Tozawa, Tony Nese, Hideo Itami. Some great fucking shit right there. We already know how great Cesaro is. I mean, it's fucking Cesaro. Shinsuke Nakamura, I mean, that match with Sami Zayn, need I say more? Need I say more there? But the lack of focus on tag team wrestling, man, it has absolutely fucking killed any ounce of excitement surrounding any tag team title match. I'd like to hope this is a decent match, but man, they have absolutely killed the tag team division. And I've seen a lot of people saying to merge the divisions, it's not going to make a fucking difference. Merging the divisions ain't going to make a fucking difference because it's still going to be the same atrocious booking. They're going to push the same fucking people. Here's what I'm waiting for. And a lot of people have been claiming that Big E is going to be the next guy to win the Royal Rumble, possibly face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I don't mind that idea. Matter of fact, I think it's a great fucking idea. Big E is made into a new fucking star, but at this rate, if they really wanted to, then they would have gotten rid of the New Day antics. Based on everything, I'm just waiting the return of Kofi Kingston because he's been on a family vacation, spending time with his family. He's going to self-quarantine, and then he's coming back to work. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for Kofi Kingston to come back. And then the New Day is going to be at full strength. And then at the next pay-per-view, the New Day are going to win back the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. I'm just waiting for that. Cesaro and Nakamura, they're going to fucking retain. The New Day are going to win the tag team titles again. And we're going to be back to square one with Big E. And it sucks because I think that Big E could be a great fucking singles guy.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. 100%, man. I'm thinking they're going to build up Big E to be the next Intercontinental Champion. I think that's where he really needs to go for now. People are already saying, oh, he's going to main event WrestleMania against Roman. Okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's relax. Let's give him a solid Intercontinental Championship run first. But anyway, on the match, Shinsuke and Cesaro retain. I do believe that they are going to hold the championships until WWE is ready to put them onto heavy machinery. I think that's.
I was actually predicting that match for the pay-per-view, and I hope Heavy Machinery wins the titles. They're logically the best team to take the titles off Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. I hope they do. Are they going to do it? Probably not, but I hope so.
For sure, I think they will, and I think that's what WWE is actually headed towards. It wouldn't make any sense to put the titles on the Lucha House Party because they look to be breaking up to branch out.
Exactly, yeah.
There's maybe Kalisto is probably going to pull away from them somehow. So, I would go with Shinsuke and Cesaro here, build it up, keep having them win. I don't know who else they're going to fight before they fight Heavy Machinery, but I think that's eventually where we're going to get to.
See, here's the one thing. You mentioned Big E main eventing WrestleMania against Roman. He's not going to main event WrestleMania against Roman. I've already said what the real main event should be. The main event of WrestleMania should be Drew McIntyre and Aleister Black. Clear as day. But they fucked up Aleister Black big time, dude. It is fucking disgusting what they did with Aleister Black. How that man beat legitimately everybody. He beat fucking everybody. He beat AJ, he beat Rollins, he beat Eric Rowan, he beat Buddy Murphy, he beat Cesaro, he beat Sami Zayn. He beat fucking everyone that they put in his path. And he gets nothing. The fact that they didn't give him the Money in the Bank briefcase, dude, I was fucking heated. And I love Otis, but I was fucking heated when they did that. They fucked over Aleister Black.
Look at the change. Look at the change, though. The reason that happened is because Paul Heyman left. Paul Heyman was the reason for his push. And as soon as Paul Heyman was fired, everything started to change with the fresh, young talent. The former NXT champions like Aleister Black and like Andrade, Cien Almas. Like, things have changed for those two dramatically. And it's a shame because they had such amazing NXT matches and runs that there's no reason why they shouldn't be having those matches on Monday Night Raw every week.
Dude, I'm telling you, that fucking baboon ass face Bruce Prichard, he needs to get the fuck out of there. He really does. I've had it up to here. I've really had it up to here with that guy. The sooner he's gone, the better. But Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, I'm predicting to retain. He's predicting to retain. There's really no one else. If they beat the Lucha House Party, then Heavy Machinery realistically is the next team to face them. Unless they want to do Miz and Morrison, but they're not going to do heel versus heel. They're definitely not going to do it, especially not with the Miz and fucking Morrison. No matter how good Morrison is. And Morrison with Cesaro and Nakamura, now that sounds like a great fucking combination, but in no way, shape, or form are they going to do Miz and Morrison, especially with everything going on. So, we're moving on to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn. Now, this I see as being the match of the night. I mean, unless one of the world title matches steal the show there, but I do expect this match to be one of the best matches of the night, potential match of the year candidate. It's definitely up there. It definitely has high expectations. Hardy, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn. I mean, you can't really go wrong there. Now, here's something that I've been thinking about. It really is a battle between Hardy and Zayn. Now, originally I was picking Hardy. I was picking Hardy simply because of the fact that I had a feeling that they were going to, A, punish Sami Zayn because he left, and B, AJ Styles is going to get traded to Raw to get away from Heyman because Heyman's on SmackDown now. So by process of elimination there, Jeff Hardy would be the lone survivor. But then I started thinking to myself, Jeff Hardy recently just signed a new contract, and you know what WWE does with these new fucking contracts. They push someone until they sign a new contract, and then they take the title right off of them. So I don't know where they're going to go here. It's definitely Sami or Hardy. AJ Styles is going to get traded to Raw. AJ Styles is not winning that. Realistically, AJ Styles should still be the champion, if we're going to be quite honest here. AJ Styles should still be the champion. No reason for it to be on Hardy, but Hardy, I can see retaining. I can see him losing. It really is a toss-up there. I really don't know which route that they're going. You could pick either one. I'm going with Jeff Hardy, mainly because of the fact that I have a feeling that they could, not saying they definitely will, but they could go with Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. Maybe they want to set up for a Survivor Series match between Jeff Hardy and or Buddy Murphy if Buddy Murphy wins the U.S. title from Bobby Lashley. Maybe they do Jeff Hardy and Bobby Lashley, mainly because of the fact that I don't think that they're going to have Sami Zayn win the title and then do heel versus heel. Really doesn't make for a good dynamic. So I am going to go with Hardy here. I think it's going to be a great fucking match. I expect these three to bring their A game. I mean, it's a ladder match with three of the best from any fucking generation you'll look at. So I expect Jeff Hardy to retain. Where Styles goes, I believe he goes to Raw. And they definitely need some main event talent over there on Raw. I do see Styles and McIntyre fighting over the WWE Championship as an interim feud. Where does Sami Zayn go? I have no idea. I do not have any idea. I'd like to hope that there is something planned for Sami Zayn. He is one of the best things on SmackDown right now. And I'm glad that they're actually starting to book him with some balls. And he's not running away like he did in his match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I mean, that was fucking horrible. But he actually put on a very good match with Styles for television last week. Now, I really don't know where he goes, but I would like to hope that there's plans for him. As far as the match goes, I'm going with Jeff Hardy to retain. I have a feeling that you're going to go with Sami Zayn, and I would like to hear why.
You're right, man. You're right. And I was of the same belief that you were, that they were going to punish Sami Zayn, but the more I think about it, the more I think that they're setting Jeff Hardy up to challenge Roman Reigns in the future. And this is why, like you mentioned, he signed a new contract, and Jeff Hardy's very injury-prone. So while we have him, I think they want to get that ultimate heat onto Roman Reigns and have him destroy another top baby face. I think we're going to see like the era of just destruction from Roman Reigns. So I think he's going to have to fight Jeff Hardy. I think that's the reasonable next step for Jeff and for Roman. But Sami Zayn also is probably going to fall into a feud with Matt Riddle over the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's going to be an amazing feud. Sami Zayn has so much material to go into on Matt Riddle. And you can even talk about the personal life stuff if you want to, whatever. Like, you can go so deep there. And that's what I think it's going to happen. And, of course, AJ Styles is going to Monday Night Raw. I pretty much can confirm that. But also, Survivor Series, you have to remember, they're probably going to do the NXT involvement again. So it wouldn't matter if it's heel versus face or heel versus heel. So you could very likely do Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn versus whoever the North American champion is, Damian Priest or whoever it might be at the time. And you throw him in there, and it's a completely different match. So, let's go Sami Zayn. He's going to get the Intercontinental Championship back, continue to be his annoying self, and hopefully get a few great matches with Matt Riddle under his belt.
Side note, Damian Priest is fucking great. Damian Priest has really come in. He's undoubtedly, outside of Drew McIntyre, he's the breakout star of 2020. He's doing some great shit in NXT.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. And I don't really talk about this often. I won't mention any names, but I have a person I talked to in WWE, a high-level executive, if you want to call him that, who I've been talking to for a number of years. And I've been put like in the DMs, and I don't talk about this publicly. I don't blast out any of the stuff he tells me publicly ever. So I've been talking to DMs good about Damian Priest for a long time now. Like, there's been a lot of creative discussions that I've had with this guy about Damian Priest, and I'm happy to see it actually come to fruition. Like, I'm glad this dude's getting his push that he's really earned with his matches against Keith Lee and Dijak and everything. So
side note about Damian Priest before we continue on. I've said this before. The only thing that I don't like about Damian Priest and his North American Championship reign is that while there have been great matches in his reign so far, dude, they are not lining him up with credible challengers. They're not. It's like similar to Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship reign. Because Timothy Thatcher, yeah, it was a very good match with Timothy Thatcher, but at the same point in time, Timothy Thatcher lost to Finn Balor at TakeOver 30, and here he is getting a North American Championship match. Johnny Gargano, now, don't get me wrong, it's Johnny fucking Gargano and Damian Priest. Now, that's a fucking match of the year candidate waiting to happen, but again, Johnny Gargano hasn't been in action since TakeOver 30. So it really doesn't make any sense. That's my only criticism about Damian Priest and his North American Championship reign. Not even his fault. Not even his fault, but other than that, Damian Priest, fucking love what Damian Priest is doing. So, you're going with Sami Zayn here.
Right on.
So, where does Jeff Hardy go? Do they build Jeff Hardy up for a TLC in December against Roman Reigns, because that's Jeff Hardy's wheelhouse? Or would they possibly do Sami Zayn and Roman, mainly because of the fact that, Sami could have a lot of material for Roman, too. And I would actually, one thing I would really love to see is, similar to R-Truth and Brock Lesnar, I'd love to see if Sami Zayn could legitimately make Roman Reigns laugh. Because Roman Reigns, he's had his stern look on his face, stern look, very serious, no bullshit. Sami Zayn, I mean, he comes out, says like, no, I'm the Intercontinental Champion, this is an exhibition match. I don't know about you, he's bullshit with Adam Pearce. I don't know about you, but I think that seeing Sami Zayn go face-to-face with Roman and seeing Roman just trying not to laugh with Sami Zayn just being a little prick, I think that'll make for some great television. Kind of like Jericho and MJF are doing right now.
I love the idea, dude. I really do. I think Jeff Hardy versus Roman TLC makes sense. And I think they'll probably have one more Jeff Hardy Sami Zayn match, a one-on-one, probably at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And then you do whatever at Survivor Series, all your cross-promotional gimmicks. And then you set Jeff up with Roman after that.
Seems like a reasonable idea. We're going to move on to the second tag team title match of the night. Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. Who, by the way, I don't know if you know, but they were breaking up. And now they're back together again and fighting for the tag team titles for the fourth time in about a month and a half. I don't know if you know that. Just wanted to make sure. So, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but to be quite honest with you, I could see this going either way. To be quite honest, I really do hope that they don't break up Andrade and Angel Garza. I really do hope they give them the tag team titles simply because of the fact that, dude, they need something to do. They are way too fucking good to be wasted. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do when they eventually feud. I don't think anyone's going to care when they eventually feud, even though it's going to be a great match. Dude, they fucked over Angel Garza. They fucked over Andrade big time. I hope that they rectify that some way, shape, or form. Do I have any faith that they will? No. It only makes sense for Angel Garza and Andrade to win the tag team championships, but I have this feeling that they're not going to do that. They're going to have the Street Profits retain again, and they're going to have the Street Profits versus the Hurt Business at the next pay-per-view, and we're going to see Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin potentially win the tag team titles. I don't know, because it does tie into the United States Championship match, because I was saying that I hoped Retribution doesn't get involved at Clash Champions. I don't know. What if they do and they cost Bobby Lashley the United States Championship because they're feuding with the Hurt Business? And then after that, I'm going to rant and rave, and I'm going to ask the question, why did you give the United States Championship to Bobby Lashley if you were just going to take it off him because of Retribution? But regardless of that, it really is a toss-up. I really don't know what's going to happen. I have a feeling that they're probably breaking up. I have a feeling that they're not going to give them the tag team championships, even though they should. I would go with Garza and Andrade, but I'm going to have to go with the Street Profits. I don't want to, but I have a feeling that the Street Profits are going to retain, and we're going to get the Hurt Business versus the Street Profits at Hell in a Cell, and Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin are going to win the Raw Tag Team titles. Only makes sense because the Hurt Business, They're the only other team in the division. You got the Viking Raiders out. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, they're long gone because of Black Wednesday. Gallows and Anderson long gone. So there's really no one else left. There's nobody else left. So it would make sense for Hurt Business to win the championships after Garza and Andrade inevitably lose here at Clash of Champions. How about you?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I think the only way you take the titles off of the Street Profits is to start a story on how to get them back onto the Street Profits. I mean, that's really all you're doing. If they lose the championships, you start a story to get the titles back onto them. That's really it. So I don't even see the point in taking the titles off them here. I do think we'll see like a big one-on-one match, hopefully with Andrade and Angel Garza in the future, to just kind of blow it off and separate these two, because what are we even doing? We've had this match 1,000 times. This, like, they've been feuding kind of since they're family members throughout this entire angle. So, I don't know, man. I guess Street Profits up in this one, and that's really it. I mean, I like your idea about the Hurt Business eventually getting those titles against Street Profits. I think that's cool. But if you do that, you're also starting that story again on how you're going to get the titles back on them. Because unless you move them to SmackDown, what else are you going to do with them on Raw?
They're going to have to move them to SmackDown at that rate, but at the same point in time, if you think about it, they could very well do Apollo and Ricochet in the tag team division. Matter of fact, I hope they do. That's probably the best route for those men, and they could do Apollo and Ricochet versus Cedric and Benjamin. That's a fucking great match waiting to happen. That's a great fucking match in the making. They could do that. That's a possibility. I don't know if they will, but I hope they do. And as far as the Street Profits go, it would only make sense if they go to SmackDown. They get a change of scenery, and we get some more tag teams, probably get called up from NXT, put them on Raw. They really need to get the tag team divisions in shape. Again, like I've stated, the merging of the divisions will do nothing. Regardless of what you may think, it's still going to be the same shit booking that we've been getting. So, at this rate, they need to put some tag teams together. They need to start focusing heavily on tag team wrestling. They need to end this feud with Garza and Andrade. Keep them in the tag team division, because the more that you continue to break up these tag teams, there's legitimately only going to be one tag team on Raw and one tag team on SmackDown, and that's the tag team champions on both brands. Now, I really don't know what else we could say about the tag team division, dude. It is a fucking mess. It really is a fucking mess. I hope for some decent matches, but oh my god, decent matches can only take you so far with the lack of focus on tag team wrestling that has been quite evident in WWE for the last 2 years now, ever since the New Day and the Usos stopped their feud after that great Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, the tag team wrestling has always been an afterthought for Vince McMahon. Always. I mean, even back in the day it was an afterthought, but at least they had, legitimate tag teams for many, many years. At a certain point, though, he always wants to get that one single star out of the tag team, and he has his eye on who that might be from the beginning. So that's really what it boils down to. As long as he's the one that's running the show, there's never going to be that focus on tag team wrestling.
It's fucking pitiful. It really is. It's fucking pitiful. But tying into another match, potentially with the Hurt Business, we got Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Again, I don't know if Retribution's going to get involved. They could. They didn't get involved in SummerSlam. They didn't get involved at Payback. I'm not sure if they're trying to halt their momentum as far as the pay-per-views go, and they're not having them get involved in pay-per-views. That's probably a plan. I don't know. It's a little unpredictable, and not the good kind of unpredictable, because I really don't want to see Retribution, period. Last thing I need is Slapjack on my television. You got Shane Thorne looking like Jason. Dio Madden looks like Shredder. We got Dominic Dijakovic looking like Bane with a Grim Reaper claw. I don't know if you caught that on Raw at the beginning of the show. Dominic Dijakovic was wearing a Grim Reaper cloak as well as a Bane mask. This is the same guy that gave you a Match of the Year candidate with Keith Lee all the way back at TakeOver Portland a mere 7 months ago. How the mighty have fucking fallen. But as far as the United States title match goes, it could swing either way. I don't know if Retribution gets involved. If Retribution gets involved, it would only make sense that Apollo Crews wins the championship, and they're probably going to continue the storyline with the Hurt Business and Retribution. I'm not sure how that's going to lead. I'm not sure how that's going to lead into a WWE assembled team versus Retribution. Survivor Series tag team match. I'm not sure if they're going to add members. I'm not sure if it's going to be 3 men and 2 women. It's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up there. More likely than not, I see Bobby Lashley retaining here. It would make sense for Bobby Lashley to get built up to be Buddy Murphy's next challenge. Buddy Murphy should beat Rollins when they eventually have their inevitable match. Buddy Murphy's made into a big baby face. Buddy Murphy should be the one to take the title off of Bobby Lashley, hands down. But, I don't know. It's an unpredictable scenario here. A lot of these matches are unpredictable, and really not in a good way either, because depending on where they go, it's almost a foregone conclusion that it's going to end up like shit with the main roster, especially with how they've handled everything during this pandemic era. It's a foregone conclusion that no matter which route they go, we're headed towards the same destination. Shit. So, I'm going with Bobby Lashley to retain. I mean, is there any other scenario?
No, man, I'll take Bobby Lashley too. I don't see them putting anyone over Bobby Lashley who they don't plan on pushing to the moon at this point. Obviously they're not going to push Apollo Crews that hard. They're not going to have him beat Bobby Lashley for the title, and even if he did get it back, what's he going to do? So I think Bobby Lashley wins. I think you're slowly building somebody out. If I'm looking into my head right now on who it could possibly be in a feud with Lashley in the future for that belt, I can't even tell you. I don't even know. But I just don't think. I mean, Buddy Murphy's a good idea. I think that's a solid strategy. But I'm just not sold that WWE really sees him as beating Bobby Lashley. Maybe, I don't know. But Lashley wins here, and we'll have to just wait and see what happens. There's many ways they can go with the story, and hopefully they pick the right one.
At this rate, Bobby Lashley, listen, I don't mind Bobby Lashley's booking. I think he's been booked great. I love the Hurt Business. Terrible fucking name, but I love the Hurt Business. I don't really, I've said it before, dude. The Hurt Business, it really sounds like a 4th grade bullying posse. It's so cheesy. Like, they really couldn't have thought of anything better other than the Hurt Business. But
You can't be too violent now. You can't be too violent.
Can't be too violent now. But you got Retribution. That's a better stable name. The presentation sucked, but that's a better fucking stable name than the Hurt Business. But I don't mind Bobby Lashley. But right now, I think the only thing that I would be fully invested in with Bobby Lashley would be a match with Brock Lesnar. And if that's the case, then they're gonna have to take the title off of him. There's really nobody else except for Buddy Murphy. Unless they want to do Mustafa Ali, but Bruce Prichard, he doesn't fucking like Mustafa Ali. Vince doesn't see anything in fucking... He had him get eliminated in 90 seconds on an episode of Raw not that long ago, so... Yeah, I really don't know. Unpredictability factor, not a good one, but...
I would jump in with... I would do Bobby Lashley and Lesnar. I love how you mentioned that. I would do that at Raw Underground. How dope would that be? If you did it, like, back there where they could actually have like a fight, and you just had it like go just something insane one night on Raw, because they don't really do like big shock value things on Raw anymore. That's part of the reason why they've lost their audience every single week, is they don't do anything really major. And if they had like a surprise appearance in Raw Underground by Brock Lesnar and he confronted Bobby Lashley, that would be sick. You can eventually do the match in the ring, but you can start it at Raw Underground. I think that would be awesome.
I mean, normally I would agree with you, but take a look at what we got with Braun Strowman and fucking Dabba-Kato. 90 seconds. You really think they're going to do anything worth talking about other than a 90-second back and forth with Bobby Lashley and Lesnar? Look at what happened with Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. They brawled for a supposed 30 minutes, and they get taken out in 10 seconds by Dabba-Kato. Buried. Completely buried there. How the mighty have fallen there once again.
I think they have a lot of tweaking to do with that story. I like the Raw Underground concept a lot because it's different, and it creates a different scenery for the wrestlers to actually do something else that's a little bit, outside the box. So, but I think they still have to tweak it and figure out exactly where they're heading.
I'm not having you back on my show again. You're supporting Raw Underground. Get the fuck out of here. No, I'm just kidding.
I like it. Well, I'm an MMA fan, by the way. I'm a huge MMA fan.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'll give you a pass.
I don't miss a UFC event. I don't miss a UFC event. Like I will miss SmackDown every week. I don't care, but I will not miss a UFC event.
Now, see, that makes sense. See, I should have picked up on that because I always see you tweeting about UFC. I should have picked up on that. But we're Bobby Lashley across the board here. See what happens there. So, moving on to the first world title match of the night. We got Roman Reigns and Jey Uso for the Universal Championship. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Jey Uso should not be in this position. He has been out of action for 6 fucking months. But, I actually like what they're doing. It makes sense what they're doing. Trying to get Roman Reigns over as a heel by having him fight his own cousin. And I actually am interested to see how Jey Uso performs. I know that he's a good tag team wrestler, but I'd actually like to see what he can do as a singles guy. I do expect this match to be competitive. I do expect this match to be a very good match. I don't really expect it to be an overwhelming match, but I do expect them to get their proper material in, and they're going to give us a nice, good standard wrestling match. Not going to be anything overwhelming, but I do expect a good match. Now, I predicted this after what happened on SmackDown. I do see this match being competitive. I do see this match being very good. And then afterwards, they're going to embrace, just like they did on SmackDown, and Roman's going to act all cool, but he's not going to let go of his hand, and he's just going to beat the shit out of Jey Uso afterwards. If that's not what they're building towards, then the entire storyline's pretty much pointless. They're building towards Roman Reigns just completely beating the shit out of Jey Uso. If they're not, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. So, I expect Roman Reigns to win this. It's going to be a very good match. I expect Jey Uso to shine. I expect Roman Reigns to do what he's been doing. I have been liking what they've been doing with Roman Reigns in his heel run so far. I don't like the fact that they put him in a Universal title match just 1 week after fucking returning, after all his momentum was just fucking gone. That was fucking terrible, but outside of that and the shitty ending at Payback, I've been liking what they've been doing with Roman Reigns' heel run. In order for me to be fully invested in it, I do want to see Jey Uso get his fucking ass destroyed by Roman Reigns, and if that happens, I think that I will be fully sold. Now, I've been calling for the heel turn for a while. That's the only way that I would support Roman Reigns. So I'm there, but I'm not, I'm like, okay, it's going good, but I'm not like, oh my god, I'm really going to invest my time with Roman now. But after this beating that Jey Uso is supposedly or reportedly going to receive, I think I'm going to be fully invested in it by then. And I really think I'm going to be a full-blown advocate for heel Roman Reigns and the work that he's been doing with Paul Heyman. So I expect Roman Reigns to retain here, and I expect Jey Uso to get his ass kicked afterwards. How about you?
Definitely, man. I agree with you 100%. I think they might try to just put the heat on Roman as much as they possibly can, since they have this opportunity with a family member that they've really set the story up well here. So I do think that they might ask Jey Uso to lay down for Roman. I think that would be an interesting twist if they try to say, we gave you this opportunity and now you lay down, you do what's right for your cousin, That would give Roman a lot of heat, and then eventually it flips into a match and Jey gets his hope spots in and crowds behind him and everything, but Roman ultimately dominates him, beats the shit out of him, brutalizes him like we've never seen before, because the whole point of this is to get Roman more over as a heel, to solidify him as this badass heel character. Now, unlike you, I love the way they brought him back. I know it was sudden and out of the blue, but to line him with Paul Heyman, to bring him back and give him the championship right away, and to turn him heel, I love that, because they're saying...
No, here's the deal. I never said I don't like the alliance with Paul Heyman. I never said I didn't like the heel turn. That was fun. I love that. I've been calling for that. The thing that I got pissed about is they gave him the championship just 1 week after fucking coming back, and he did nothing to earn the shot. That's my problem. Outside of that, and the shitty ending that we got, where he just showed up out of nowhere literally 90% through the match, outside of that, I haven't minded what they've been doing. That's my problem.
Yeah, sure, no, I understand. But it was just to make him an even more hated heel, because they don't need the marks that believe everything to hate him. They're trying to get everyone to hate him.
You got Paul fucking Heyman as his manager. How much more heel can you get?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what they're doing. They're going all in, and I love the fact they're doing that. My suspicion when he came back at SummerSlam was that he was going to be a tweener, but they went full-blown heel, and I love that they're doing it. So I'm excited. I think he destroys Jey Uso, just like you said, and hopefully this leads to something fantastic. I think we're going to have a great Roman Reigns heel run into WrestleMania, where I hope he retains and continues to hold the title. I hope he has like a 500-day run. Why not?
Well, it depends on the challenges that you have lined up for him, because you know this company, they don't know how the fuck to build up any credible challengers for any fucking championship. Realistically, the only credible challengers for a championship in the WWE right now would have been Randy Orton, but then he lost at SummerSlam, and somehow he's getting another match. And here's the thing, what I said with SummerSlam, and we're going to talk about Randy Orton and McIntyre next. The thing that I said with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, it kind of looked like Orton had his left shoulder up on that backslide at SummerSlam, but they didn't even bring that to light. And they just said, oh yeah, I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm going to give Randy Orton another WWE Championship match. Like, really? You didn't even try to make a story out of these supposed left shoulder up? I mean, that would have made much more sense. And more likely than not, they're going to have Randy Orton come out the following night, because I do believe that Drew McIntyre is going to retain. Orton's going to come out the following night and say that, hey, I never lost. I never lost at Clash of Champions. I wasn't pinned, and then they get Hell in a Cell. And then Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, we get that Hell in a Cell match. I do see Drew McIntyre holding the championship for the rest of the year. If they didn't give Orton the championship at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam, then I don't think that they're going to give Orton the championship at all, to be quite honest with you. If they were going to give Orton the championship, then they would have done it at SummerSlam. But apparently now they are extending the feud, so they're probably doing this. And the main reason why they're doing this is because of the simple fact that they are too lazy to actually build up any new challengers, so they're extending this feud to try and get like 3 pay-per-view matches with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, and then eventually, obviously, pick it up after Survivor Series, and then probably build up a challenger for WrestleMania, because I've said it once and I'll say it again. McIntyre's in the same position that Rhea Ripley was in. Rhea Ripley, before they fed her to the fucking android Charlotte Flair, what they should have done is Rhea Ripley should have continued her momentum. She should have kept that legitimacy, and she should have dropped that title to Io Shirai instead of having the unnecessary 9-week reign that Charlotte Flair had. Drew McIntyre now has that legitimacy. Drew McIntyre's been winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. He hasn't lost. And he has that legitimacy that you need to transfer to a new star, which is why I've been saying Aleister Black. If Aleister Black wins the Rumble, beats Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, that would be a perfect person to transfer the legitimacy to, unless you want to do Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. But at the same point in time, I really think that Keith Lee, he could have gone on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That's definitely a match that you could use to build up Keith Lee, and then possibly have Keith Lee go into SummerSlam. Aleister Black's the WWE Champion. You could have Aleister Black have a nice 5-month, 6-month reign with the championship, and he drops it to Keith Lee at SummerSlam. So there's multiple routes that you can go, but I really don't see Drew McIntyre losing the title anytime soon, because if they were going to put the title on Orton, then again, they would have done it at SummerSlam. So as far as the ambulance match here for the WWE Championship, I do see Drew McIntyre retaining. I do see this main event in the show. They'd be foolish to have this not main event the show. It's a fucking ambulance match. So it only makes sense. Drew McIntyre retains, and more likely than not, we're going to get Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell, and they build towards McIntyre fighting perhaps the Universal and the NXT Champion at SummerSlam, maybe. Not at SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I don't know. We could get McIntyre and Roman one-on-one. To be quite honest, if they do that, I really wouldn't mind. Outside of that, they're probably going to build up another challenger for TLC, maybe Kevin Owens, maybe Rey Mysterio, and they could have Edge fight Orton, probably at Survivor Series. They have the blow-off match there. Edge and Drew McIntyre, that would be the perfect WWE Championship match for the Rumble. That would be the perfect WWE Championship match for the Rumble. Big name, big fight feel, gets Edge in a major match on a pay-per-view, gives Drew McIntyre another win over a credible opponent. I mean, how much more credible can you get than Edge? He's an 11-time world champion. He's done everything there is to do. So it would only make sense at that rate. And I do see Drew McIntyre retaining and continuing his reign into the fall.
Everything you said is perfectly logical. But I'm going to stick a big fat hole through it. And that is a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago now or something. I can't remember what episode it was. Randy Orton buried on Raw The Rock, and he buried Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same line. He called them both out. And that doesn't happen too often, if ever, on WWF television. I mean, who calls them out? This is why I think Randy Orton is eventually going to win the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Night of Champions, but I am going to pick him for Night of Champions.
Clash of Champions.
Going to become whatever, Clash of Champions.
I just had to be a smart ass. I just had to do it.
Yeah, it's fine. Nah, whatever it's called. Well, it used to be Night of Champions.
It did, and then they changed it in 2016.
Okay.
It did.
There you go. All right, so I think Randy Orton's eventually going to become the champion because they're not going to have to call out The Rock and Austin without the intention of putting the strap on him. I do think that you will have Drew McIntyre win it back from Randy Orton, and that's when we'll see Edge return. I think Edge is going to be the reason why Randy Orton loses the title back to McIntyre to reignite the Edge Randy Orton feud, but then you have Drew get it away from both of them and do his own thing as now a two-time WWE champion. I personally believe that the long reign, oh man, he had the belt for this amount of time. For your first WWE Championship reign, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't even matter. I mean, they used to flip-flop the title constantly back and forth, like trade it a couple times within a series of matches. The most famous one, in my mind, is The Rock and McIntyre in 1998 and 1999. I don't mind them doing that. I loved it because you had compelling television almost every single week. You didn't know what was going to happen. I believe they traded it back and forth 3 times.
That was a different time, bro. You gotta remember that was different. That was 20 years ago. Different time, different era. The flip-flopping of the title, that really does diminish the prestige of the championship, and it really does diminish the superstar as well, because you're kind of making the superstar, doesn't matter who it really is. You take a look at what happened with Sasha Banks and Charlotte. I mean, that was a fucking terrible feud, constantly flip-flopping the championship. If you're not going to invest in a long-term reign, then you shouldn't be giving anyone a championship. If anyone is going to hold a championship for less than 100 days, then you should not give them a championship reign. Unless you're an established star, like at least 90, 100 days, that should be the minimum championship reign. Because the shorter that someone holds a championship, the less it's really going to mean. Because at the end of the day, people aren't going to remember what they did with the championship. It's not about how many times you hold the championship. It's about what you do with that championship. And when it comes to McIntyre, what he's been doing now, the reason why he's had such a great run is because he has been having great matches and he's been beating people. He's been consistently winning, and he's held it for an extended period. He's almost held it for 200 days. So at this rate, you got to keep that going. Now, with Randy Orton, you said that he called out The Rock and Stone Cold. You know, I really don't think much of that, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, I mean, he's Randy Orton. He could do whatever the fuck he wants and get away with it. I don't necessarily think that WWE would be that smart to actually throw a line in there. That's probably Orton himself. Because there's no fucking way that you can script a guy like Randy Orton. Some people like that you just can't script. Randy Orton is not scripted. Randy Orton's all natural when he comes off in a promo. So at the end of the day, he's Randy fucking Orton. So he can do whatever he wants. He could say whatever he wants, and he'll get away with drug tests. And he has gotten away with drug tests in the WWE. So at the end of the day, I don't really feel that promo means much, because again, he's Randy Orton. He can do whatever he wants. It's unpredictable. He could win the title. He could, but with everything going on, I really don't see him doing it. Especially since that if they wanted to put the title on him, then they would have done. Then they would have done it at SummerSlam. Edge could still come back and cost him at Clash of Champions. He could cost him at Hell in a Cell. Depends. I don't know how they want to do this. It really is a toss-up. But I'm sticking with McIntyre. So you're finalized. You're sticking with Orton.
I'm going to go Randy Orton. I think I think he's going to win the championship 100%. I don't think they're going to go through this whole storyline without putting the title on him at all, because they really started it off by aligning him with Ric Flair, or Ric Flair explaining to him, like, Randy, I want you to be the one to break my record and stuff. And they didn't do all that stuff for no reason, man. They actually had a plan in mind, and that was to put the title on Orton so you could get him closer to that match with John Cena, where they're both the winner of that match becomes the new record holder of title reigns.
Oh my
I think
God.
that's where they're
Dude, how many times have we fucking seen that match? I still have nightmares from the 2014 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, dude, that was supposed to be the last time ever, but I think that's where eventually it's going to go, because you said that multiple title reigns don't mean anything, but they do, because, Randy Orton and John Cena, they both did a lot with the championship, and now they're at the point where they're almost to break Ric Flair's record, which is one of the most prestigious records in pro wrestling history.
The fake record.
So at the end of the day, I do think he's going to... What do you mean? What does that mean?
I heard that it's fake. I heard that it's a mythical record.
Well, if you want to go back and count the times the title changed on house shows and was split back the next night, and it was not recognized by the company, you can really get into because you got to remember, the whole fucking industry's fake. The whole thing's fake. So if the whole industry's fake and they make stuff up all the time, they made up the first Intercontinental Champion. There was no fucking tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil to crown Patterson as the first IC champion. They made all that up. So they've been making up stuff forever, and they'll continue to make stuff up. But at the end of the day, that's the recognized record, is 17 championships, and I think that's where they're headed.
I don't think I could tolerate another. I don't think I could tolerate another Cena Orton match. I really don't. I hope. I don't know. I don't know. I think
this is classic, bro. This is WWE 101, man. They're not going to put Randy Orton in this position and have him walk out with loss after loss after loss after loss.
I mean, he can. He can, though, because at the end of the day, it's really not going to do anything. Again, I don't necessarily mind Orton as the WWE champion, but here's the thing. He really doesn't need it. The storyline with Edge doesn't need it, and he could take all the losses that he wants. He's a Hall of Fame. If he were to retire right now, which he won't, because he's got at least 10 years left in the business, best shape of his life. But if he were to retire right now, it really wouldn't mean anything, and he would go into the Hall of Fame the next year. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He's done everything there is to do. Royal Rumble, Tag Team Champion, U.S. Champion, Intercontinental Champion, World Champion, Money in the Bank title holder, Royal Rumble. He's done everything. Survivor Series winner. He's done everything. So at the end of the day, he really doesn't need the championship. And I had a feeling that he was probably going to win the title at SummerSlam, but after SummerSlam and the way that they had him lose, it just seems to me that they built him up to try and help enhance McIntyre's championship reign, because there was a report not that long ago that they're trying to make McIntyre the next face of the company. They want to make him like the new Roman Reigns, in a sense. What Roman Reigns should have been, but flopped miserably at. And now he's a heel.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick on Drew McIntyre. If I ask you now, how many World Championship reigns Drew McIntyre is going to have by the time his career is over, what would be your answer?
I have no idea. What is he, like 33, 34?
Yeah, mid-30s, yeah.
He's very, very, very young. Well, if he's wrestling till he's 50, if he's still in this shape, I don't know. It definitely depends. Probably at least 6 or 7. Depends on what they depends on how they portray it, because I have a feeling that they're probably going to give Drew McIntyre another World Championship reign once crowds get back. But I have a feeling that they're building towards something with Drew McIntyre's reign as we speak. I don't necessarily know what, but I really don't see them taking the title off McIntyre now, especially after they've built him up so big. Randy Orton, I don't. What?
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just letting you know that there's more money in the chase than there is in the title run. So I really believe that they want to see Drew McIntyre have a true chase, because his chase last year, let's face it, man, it was a Brock Lesnar chase. There's not a lot you could do there. With the Brock Lesnar storyline, it's the same story every single time. It's always the same story, pretty much, for the most part. So, you didn't really have much. There wasn't much to gauge. There's more money in the chase, and I can see him getting back to the WrestleMania main event next year as the challenger again and winning the title again. They've done it with Stone Cold. They did it with Stone Cold. He did it at WrestleMania 14, WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 17. That's what they want to do with their top guys. They want them to chase the belt and win at WrestleMania.
Well, it's a potential. We'll see what happens there. But, ladies and gents, Ladies and gents, that wraps up this edition of The Rundown. I'd like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Oh, man. I'm going to get out of here, but first things first. Jay, where can we find you on social media?
Bro, I'm everywhere at my shoot name, and that is at Jey Alletto. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Xbox Live. I'm all over the fucking place. You can also find me at PWP Nation on Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. PWPNation.com is my website. We're kind of in a holding period right now because wrestling kind of sucks. But PWP Nation, I have tons of content over there, years of hard work. You can also find my eBay store at PWP Nation on eBay. Check that out. I got a lot of shit going on right now, man. Got a lot of stuff in the works, bro. I have the Alletto brand in the works. I'm also the social media coordinator for GTS Wrestling. Got a lot of shit going on. So please check me out. Thank you so much for having me on the show again, DJ Storms. You are the fucking man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Jey Alletto, I'm DJ Storms, and this has been The Rundown. We'll catch you for Clash of Champions